Good morning. It is Monday, September the 2nd, 2019. Bitcoin prices moved up out of a 1-2-3 bottom formation here. I did put all along. I have my stop above my entry, and I'm just going to follow through this trade day by day. A quick breeze past our disclaimer and into the live chart. So we'll go through our indicators and our scan from long term to short term and see what all of this means for us. The first thing I want to do is grab a sheet of paper here, and I want to crudely draw what is going on with this RSI on the weekly view, because we're going to have this candle changing and changing throughout the week. And I'm going to say this is today's angle of attack. This is what I'm going to be watching now throughout the week, just for curiosity's sake, to see what does this angle do, flipping up and down as the prices are moving. I'm anticipating this is going to end the week with it being a very sharp tip upward, like one of these. At the end of the week, it's going to be an angle upward all the way along at these levels. It's super keen, super important that we are coming off of these potential support and resistance levels right now. With all of this happening in the long-term RSI, just from this chart alone, it's really important to see that this is a great turn happening. Now, if I go into the daily view, we can see this is holding prior levels where we had our 1-2-3 bottom set up here. You could call this a triple bottom for sure. And that the RSI is bouncing off those areas was really key, but not definitive. We have to get that structure up above these levels. We have to see some of these moving averages crossing over as we get into shorter time frames. So as we go into the 12-hour time frame, I love the RSI as well, because it's holding these same bottoms all the way through the bottoms in the chart. We're going to see in the 4-hour that we had a massive oversold condition there, but we really don't get that super oversold condition for quite a long time here in the 12-hour. It's been holding. Anything bouncing off of these levels, turns into something potentially bullish. And then we'll watch for this 12-hour. Where does it come back and bounce to? Similar to what we are seeing in the 5-year over the weekly, rather. So this is that's a new observation for me to put that together. That the 12-hour is that important for where this is bouncing off in our turnaround points. Love it. Now in the 4-hour time frame, I was talking about this super oversold condition here that matched our bounce, and that we have a nice divergence that is different than the price. That's really bullish to me. So all the way through here, it's giving me bullish, bullish, bullish. And as we get up to the tip of the ship, basically the head of the snake as it's going along, everything's going to follow where this is pointing. So the next zoom in from the 4-hour and 1-hour and 15-minute really confirms an acceleration in the direction, really. So now we're seeing on the 1-hour time frame a divergence where we've got higher highs and lower highs in the RSI. So it could absolutely pull back, and it would be healthy and good for it to come back and touch this number 2 point, consolidate a bit there because of the support and resistance we're bumping up against right now. So it may need to get a bit of a run at that wall by gathering back and steaming through it. And we'll watch the RSI breaking this way. Watched it before and it really bounced back, but when it breaks this trend line, that will match what's going on with the top. We can see this starting to come out already. So I am anticipating it'll come back to these levels. Maybe the price will only come back a little bit, but the RSI will pull back a great deal. Then we know we're coming back to a pocket where we can be looking for an entry on the springboard up from here. So this RSI is really revealing a lot here today. When I go into the 15-minute view, I'm not seeing as much of a divergence as I did in the 1-hour view off of these tops. It is kind of a divergence. They would say a hidden divergence, but not too strong. Still going to be watching for the break of this and see how that unfolds for today. Now the on-balance volume, we've got to see this picking up. If we're really going to storm off here, it's going to show up eventually in these longer time frames, and not yet in the daily. Now in the 12-hour, we're starting to see a little bit of it starting to poke up here, but it's still not turning around with strong volume. 12-hour time frame, 4-hour time frame. This is where it starts to get a little bit more exciting for me, where the steady trickle of buying going on here all the way through this is pretty significant. It's not a bunch of buying and dumping, buying and dumping. We've hit a range where we had similar sells all the way along and nowhere near as much selling on this dip as we had in this dip here. That's pretty key as well. We can see back here, lots of serious selling on this dip and much less, and then it switched to positive, and that was our breakout. We've already had a switch to the positive and a steady trickle. We've seen that in the charts before, and it's always good. 1 hour time frame, some buying, a bit of dumping here, and it's turned back around to that steady buying here on this time frame. So we have a little bit more buying on this top than on this one, but still pretty significant steady buying all the way through here. We don't, unless we get a big dump of selling going on, this is looking pretty good. And I love recording it so that I can check my bias later to see when I'm wrong at, because as we go through the MACD indicator and I start zooming in on the daily, this is starting to look like it's preparing to cross. On the 1 day, our exponential moving averages haven't crossed yet. On the 12-hour time frame, this has crossed. Our 12-hour exponential moving average hasn't. Now I want to go and zoom in on this. We were talking about this yesterday a couple times. As this is changing to positive and we get this crossover, we have not as strong as I thought. This one pulled back a little bit. But we still, overall, it's positive crossovers where we have this cross to the positive, bounced, cross to the positive. Now I'll clear this off and bring the chart back so I can compare this time that it's holding. Pardon me. I liked the structure of this bottom better. I like that this was higher lows in this cross, but we have lower lows in this cross. Not as strong a divergence as I was wanting to see, actually, but still positive as we look at the 12-hour time frame. Go into the 4-hour time frame, and this is a good positive cross here, and it's the ascending crosses that I'm liking to see in a divergence that I'm liking to see as well. So that is bullish to me to see this setup taking up here. Really nice. And I want to zoom in on it to pay attention to what the histograms are doing. Pull back a little bit, stronger. What is this going to do over the next 4 hours? The next couple that this paints are really going to tell a tale, because it hasn't gone very high in quite a while, like extreme moves in quite a while. And when it does these extremes, now let's see where this is. When it does these extremes, and we're watching for the divergence in those extremes now. So when it does those extremes, it is the blowout top. It's up pretty strong right now then. So that's significant to know historically that this is a pretty strong setup for the histogram size. That's pretty bullish to be that far up at the 48 range in the 4-hour time frame. And our exponential moving average hasn't crossed over yet. This still needs more structure to be built. You can see that when the 4-hour exponential moving average crossed here, we already had the 1, 2, 3 bottom and a good breakout. And it showed us that the direction had changed. We already had enough to put parallel channels in there, and we don't have that yet. So that's what the exponential moving average crosses over. It filters out a lot of this stuff. It would still be holding us in a short position, anticipating this may come back and help build a better structure. And when it does, then the exponential moving average will cross over. So we'll see what goes on with this. Zoom in on the 1-hour time frame. Good positive cross. A positive cross, and then as we get closer, this histogram is eased off and is fighting right here. Still a long ways that this can go up in a strong move. Long ways that it can go up in a really strong move. It's got long ways that it can build all the way and stay in these ranges while we are in the uptrend. So all good for the crossovers and the setup of the MACD here so far. Again, just a matter of these chart structures. Let's go into the Ichimoku cloud. Long-term time frame, clear. Drag this back. Then I can zoom in on the time frames. Pull this back. We're still in a bearish view for the 1-day time frame. It still hasn't crossed over any bullish view on the 1-day time frame. On the 12-hour time frame, also still bearish. Everything is still crossed to the bear. This is still crossed to the bear. This is still below the cloud. We have a twist of the negative cloud on the 12-hour time frame. On the 4-hour time frame, we're getting the first indicators of the bullish crosses here. This is starting to cross. The green line is starting to cross through. It needs to go through everything. The blue line is crossed above the red. That's good. It's got to stay there. This has got a twist to the green, and the price has to poke its way above these levels. So it'll agree with the 4-hour exponential moving average crossover when it finally does get there. So it could fight a while before it goes through this cloud, according to this. And I'm paying more attention to the Ichimoku cloud because it's been doing really well in the 1-hour time frame. Not definitive, but when you combine it with these risk control rules and you're following your stop loss properly, then you are in for these opportunities and you are out when it's not proven you correct. So the 1, 2, 3 bottom formation breakout is not the end. It is the first bit of getting staged in and put your stop loss above your entry. If it comes back to these levels, you just got to get out because we're not done this overall trend yet then. And that will be something to watch. We're really coming up to an important trend touch here. So that coming back to gain momentum to go through that downtrend line and through the support and resistance probably is logical. Not guaranteed, but this is showing us that it's already gone positive here. This is cut through everything. The blue is crossed above the red. The cloud is positive, but it is thicker, which means more sideways action rather than a quick blast up through. So we'll just hold that long position now that it's proven correct and see what the market tells us. Leave it up to the market. And where am I? 1 hour. 15-minute time frame is also confirming this. Yet the trailing indicator is come through the price and is bullish a little bit. The cloud is almost twisting. And where's the blue line? Just barely above, and it's holding steady, just barely above the conversion line right now, the baseline. So this may show us as it comes back through here, before it comes back to my stop loss, that it's just a quick move up and we could get more of a pullback, but I've put my position on and I got my stop loss, and then I just play it through now, leave it up to the market because I'm wrong more often than right, as often as right on my entries. I'm not going to try to guess if I'm right on my exits. I'm just going to leave that up to the market now that I'm fortunate enough to get in there at 10 times long and it's profitable. I can play this speculation for free now. Back to Bitcoin dominance to finish it off. It looks like it's taking off, and the combination of 4 charts, Bitcoin still looks to me like it's taking off, and everything else is getting their butts whipped and getting crushed right now. That is a wrap. I will leave it at this. This is a better chart to go to. Zoom in to the 1-minute view. And I like to see the volume patterns under this. It's pretty cool. Tune in for the next one. I'll see you guys on Discord. Cheers. Bye for now.